Hey guys, Mark here. This is episode 11 of the 750 project build. And last time, well, I know it's been a long time since I made a video. And last time I ripped apart the coolant system, got a few things cleaned up and whatnot. And for this video, what I wanted to do is I wanted to basically put it all together and then start shooting the video saying, look, I got it all put back together and whatnot. But when I got it all together, I poured the coolant in it and I was hearing trickling noises. All right, you know, it's just the coolant getting through the system. Well, it wasn't just that. It was actually leaking out of the radiator. So I ended up having to take the radiator off, which isn't hard. You unhook the top inlet and the bottom outlet hoses. Then there's 3 screws that hold on the plastic cover, and then there's 4 screws that hold the actual radiator in place, and there's also an electrical hookup for the fan that you'll have to unhook, of course, when you take the radiator off. Once I got the radiator off, I took it inside and plugged the holes and filled it up with water, and I had water going everywhere. So yes, my radiator is definitely leaking. So I've had to order a new one, and I did, and it's finally here. So I want to show you here. So these are the 3 spots where the plastic cover is, and then that comes off, and then there's screws that hold it on here, and then down here as well. And then this is the top inlet, and down here is the exit port that goes back into the engine. This right here is your drain plug, which mine is out right now, and then this one right here is your fan switch temperature sensor. Oh, and then might as well show you this too. Then these places here, yeah, there, and there, those are your fan mounting screws. And I took my fan off and put it on the new radiator. I actually did also check the fan. I took my battery charger and then I hooked it up. I put the negative here, the positive there, and whew, it whirled right up. So the fan is good, at least. I don't have to replace that. But I wanted to get it all hooked up and everything like that and get the coolant put in, but there's a problem. Let me show you what that problem is. All right, guys, that's my problem right there. That is my oil level window. And if I tip my bike over, let's see if I can do this one-handed. All right, I'm not gonna be able to do it one-handed. It's too heavy. But that window is completely full, fuller than it was when I originally put the oil in, which means I've got liquid going into my my engine, and I don't know what liquid it is yet. I don't know if it's gas or if it's coolant. I don't think it was that way when I took the gas tank off. Okay, everything seemed fine until I started working with the coolant system. But now that I've been working with the coolant system, now all of a sudden that window is full and I don't know what to do. So this is the dilemma I'm having. I think I need to start taking apart the engine, which scares the shit out of me of doing, because I really don't know what to do, how to do it, or anything like that. I just don't have that confidence. I've never taken apart an engine like this before. But I mean, I may have to rip out not only the top end, but the cylinders as well. Maybe I've got something going on with the rings around the pistons. I don't know, and I won't know until I get into it. But man, I am just so scared to get into it. I really am, and that's one of the reasons why I haven't worked on this project in so long, is because I am just scared shitless on ripping it apart and trying to figure it all out. I think I can do it to a point. You know, I can rip it apart. That's not a problem. It's just putting it all back together. That's the issue. I don't know if I'm going to have to rip out the entire motor to do it. I think I'm going to have to. and I'm not sure about how to do that. I do have an owner's manual, and that can give me some clues on how to do it, but yeah, I just don't know. Okay, then another thing that I found out was my petcock has actually been leaking gas. And what it was, so right in here, right in this spot here is where the diaphragm is. And that diaphragm for the petcock was what was leaking. And I tried different things. I took it all apart again, tried to clean it off, put it back together. It was still dripping. It's like, what the hell? So I ended up going to my local shop and got a new diaphragm for the petcock. So put that in, it's not leaking anymore. So it's actually been sitting up here for like over a month, and I've got no leaking at all coming out of the petcock. So good thing there. All right, I got a new temperature sensor probe for the fan switch. Got that. God, that was like $100. Oh. So, but this is actually the one that came in the used radiator, and yes, that is a used radiator. It's not brand new, and I actually got a good deal on it. I waited around. That's why that's another reason why this video came out so late, is because I've been waiting to find something that was a good deal on that radiator. I paid $32, and that includes shipping. I like that. And I've checked it, it doesn't leak. So that's another good thing. Okay, but the big news is I made that announcement that I wanted to bobber this out, and I've started buying things to do the bobbering process. So let me show you what I've got. All right, let me move some of this stuff out of the way. Get that away from the edge a little bit so it doesn't fall. Okay, let me bring this stuff over. All right. Oh, you know what? I got something inside. I need to run in and get it real quick. Okay, got my last little item here. All right, so one of the big things is I finally received my license plate. So got my plate here, so now I can have a licensed bike on the road, but I still don't have the insurance for it yet. I don't want to really waste the money on having it insured when it's not operational. So once it's operational, then I'll get insurance for it. This is the original seat. As you all know, you've seen this, and it's been just sitting around collecting dust. I think I may end up selling this because I'm not going to need it. I got a new seat, so I don't need this one. And for a bobber, you have a solo seat, okay? I've seen bobbers with a pillion seat, but I don't like the way it looks. So, solo seat, and it will be a spring seat. Even though my bike has a suspension, I'm still going with that spring look. I just like that look. And this has got a nice detailing on it too. Look at all these little brass rivets. Look at all those brass rivets and stuff. And then there's a little plate up here. I mean, that looks nice. I like this seat a lot. I think it's gonna look really good on the bike. I really do. Of course, I've still got these side covers, and I want to take off that Vulcan badging on there. It's not that I'm ashamed to have a Vulcan, but this is going to be a customized bike, and I don't like badges on it. I mean, I kind of did the same thing with Angel. I took all the badging off of her except for one Kawasaki sticker on the side cover on the right side. But I want to take that badging off these. Let's see, I got new hand grips. So Drag Specialties. I know you can't see these too well because of the light reflection and the packaging, but those are my hand grips. I think I have seen another 750 with these exact same hand grips, but I mean, at least that tells me that they'll work with the bike. I bought this because I wasn't sure how exactly I was going to do a taillight, and this is a taillight frame with license plate bracket on it. And these are supposed to be mounted on the axle of the rear wheel, you know, and it kind of sets off onto the side of the wheel. I don't really care for that look. You know, to me, it's not a symmetrical look, and I kind of like symmetry. So I've been trying to figure out a way I could use this up on the fender instead. And I haven't figured, I was pondering this, and I had this sitting around for a while, and I think I finally found something that I like. And it also included the brake light. So I don't know if I'm actually going to use this or not. I still might, but I don't know yet. But this is what I got for my tail light. It's still actually in the plastic. I haven't even opened it yet. So this is the tail light I'm going to use. And I really like these drilled CNC'd holes around there. You know, so when it lights up, you'll also get a ring of light going around this. I think that's really cool. But as you can see, this has also kind of got a license plate bracket frame on it as well. And it also has a screw back here for mounting. Yeah, I just don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know if I'm going to take this light off and put it on that other bracket or not. So, I mean, I could. Yeah, it's easily interchangeable. So, I haven't figured that out. But to go with this theme of these CNC'd holes, let me show you my blinkers. So these are my blinkers. And as you can see, they also have a hole to them. These just unscrew so I could get in and change the bulb. These are not LEDs, but one thing I've got to make sure is that it's screwed down nice and tight to where it won't come off. And this post actually screws in as well. And I've got to make sure that that's nice and tight. Now, there is a small, you can see that it's kind of flat here and flat down here. So you can put a wrench on there and torque it down if you really need to. So these are my blinkers. And what I was thinking about doing was, I'll just use this. I'll use this as an example. If I were to put my license plate on here, I could put just like standard L-shaped bracket and have my blinker like that instead of attached to the fender or the body frame or something like that. That way my blinker, my tail lights, they're all together. So I kind of like that idea. That is mostly everything I've picked up so far. In fact, I think that is everything I've picked up so far for the bobbering process. Because to me, you don't really add a lot to a bike when you're bobbering. It's more of taking stuff off. You could remove the front fender altogether, maybe chop it down. Same thing with the back. I don't think I want to remove it completely, but I might end up cutting it, so we'll see. You'll take off the passenger pegs. A lot of people take off the air intakes. They call them Mickey Mouse ears or something stupid like that. And I don't know if I want to bother with that process of it either. I do not like those little cone-shaped things that a lot of people put on. They just hook them directly to the carburetors. And I don't like those because I tend to get caught in rain. And what happens with those open-aired filters when it's raining on you? You know, you're going to end up drawing water into your engine, and I don't want to do that either. So right now my plan is to stay with the original air filters that are on there. Yeah, right now that's my plan. Is there anything else in here that I need to show you? No, there is not. So that's going to be this video. I just wanted to update you guys on what's been going on. I had problems with the coolant system, and now I see that I've got a lot of liquid in my engine, and I just don't really know what to do about it. I'm assuming that it's coolant, that a head gasket or both or something is leaking internally, and now I've got to take and basically rebuild the top end, maybe even farther down into my engine, depends on where that leak is. So yeah, that's where I'm at, and that's why I'm not moving as quickly as I was before, because I am real nervous about ripping apart my engine. I just don't know what I'm going to come across and what I'm going to find. And like I said, it's not so much ripping it apart, it's putting it all back together. But I've got an owner's manual and I'm trying to read up on it. I'm trying to find helpful videos online, and yeah, that's where I'm at, that's what I'm doing, and that's how it's going. I will get that new coolant, or the new radiator on the front, and then I'll start working on the engine itself. But I just want to get that radiator hooked up before I start tearing into the engine. So that's it, guys. That's all I'm doing. I'm not going to really work on anything. It is another scorcher today. That's the fourth thing that has been going on. It's either been 90 plus degrees outside, it's been 90 plus humidity, or it's been raining. I mean, we really haven't had a break in the heat and the moisture. And for me, just standing here doing this little video clip, I'm dying here. I'm sweating and I'm not doing anything. All right, so that gets you caught up on everything. Told you about the tank, told you about the coolant system, the radiator, and told you about the engine issue. And I showed you all the stuff I've gotten for the bob ring project. So that's it. This is Mark saying thanks again for watching. Thank you for your support. I will see you guys on the road. Hey guys, I've actually stuck out around the garage. It started to cool off just a little bit, but the humidity went up. But I've been out here, I've been working on getting the coolant system finished off and get the radiator on. Let me show you what I did and what I found out. So one of the tricks I found out putting on your radiator, put your upper return hose onto the radiator first, okay? Then once you have that on, you can push the return line underneath the frame. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is the top of the radiator. You got this hose that comes out here. Attach it to the radiator first. Then you can slide it into this area. You can also try to get the hose pushed onto your housing for your thermostat. Okay, then down here, here's this hose here. That is your outlet. Put your radiator on the outlet. Again, don't tighten it down. So then you can go through and get all your bolts in place and your hoses are already hooked up. That's the best way to go about it. I went through the first time, just started putting in the bolts. Struggled like crazy to try to get any of the hoses on. Took all the 4 mounting bolts out, hooked up the lower hose, and then put the 4 bolts back in. Then I realized I couldn't get the top hose on at all. Took out the 4 bolts again. I was able to push on the upper hose, the return hose. And yeah, then I found out that, you know, put it onto the housing and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a big ordeal. If anything, put the upper return hose on first. And then when you're ready to start putting it in, feed that hose through the top, hook up your bottom supply hose, and that way it's got something to kind of keep the radiator up. You don't have to keep on holding it. Push on the upper return hose onto the thermostat housing, and then you can start tightening down all the hose clamps once you get all that done up, and then go through and put in all of the mounting bolts. Okay, the 4 mounting bolts, then you can put the cover on and all that stuff. But let me show you something. Okay, so as you can see, I drained out all the oil out of here, and you can see, maybe you can see there's a little bit of dripping going on. what that dripping is once I got the radiator on, everything was all hooked up and ready to go, so I started to fill the system. I left the drain plug out of the oil, and when I started to pour the coolant in, that started dripping again. So I think what it is that one of my head gaskets somewhere up in here is leaking and getting into the engine. So it looks like it's a very slow leak, but it is leaking, and it was not dripping at all. I've had that drain plug out for probably more than an hour. It wasn't dripping. I cleaned up around the area and everything, but now once I started pouring in the coolant, all of a sudden I'm getting dripping. So I think my antifreeze coolant is leaking through the gaskets of the cylinders somewhere. I don't know which one. I don't know which cylinder. I don't know which gasket. So, fuck. I'm gonna have to go through and start ripping apart the heads and replacing the gaskets. Yay! All right, so now I'm done. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for supporting the channel, and I will see you on the road.